Captain Frank Campbell.
Yes.
Good to have you on. We've been doing this for a while and I've yet to have you on the show.
I've been hiding.
You've been hiding?
No, they got me busy doing too many other things.
Yeah.
Your badge says show manager. What
Yeah,
describe that to us.
they just wanted to push some stuff off on me, Joe did. I mean, I've taken over from Bill Hiltz for doing the outdoor promotions, and this was just part of it. We're trying to make the show a great show to attend, a good show to learn some stuff at and send people out. So,
I mean, we're an hour into it, but mission accomplished. So congratulations on that. You guys have done a great job. And we were commenting with Matt and just, I can't remember the first year of the show, but to look at where the show was then versus where it is now, it's really, you guys, it's a big accomplishment for the organization, for sure.
yeah, I would say that, one of the things that we've been steadfast on is education, and people have come to recognize that we are probably one of the leading shows when it comes to educating anglers. The nice thing is they go in, they take in these seminars, and these are really qualified people offering these seminars, number one. So they're coming out of there educated in different things, but then they are able to walk out on the floor and get those things. And I think that that's a real selling point for people attending.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5 seminars or more running at any one time. And I always tell people, some of the shows I go to, there's seminars, and you walk in there and there's 3 guys in the back of the room falling asleep during the seminar. But when you come here and you walk into the seminar room, they are full of people, and there's people with notebooks, and they're there to learn. And you guys really put on a show, and again, with a lot of great speakers, but testament to the people that are coming to the show, though, too. The people that are walking the door here, they're a different breed of people than what you see at a lot of shows, in that they want to learn. That's why they're here.
You get people that are hungry for knowledge. And it's funny because you get the beginner or the novice angler who really doesn't know a lot, who's, really looking to digest a lot of this. And then you get guys who have been doing it forever who just want that little tip to make them a little better fisherman. I mean, I've been running charters for 33 years in the lower river, Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, and I get to sit in on little portions of these seminars sometimes, and I take away things. And I think that as an angler, you always want to evolve. You always want to just get that little thing that puts you over the top, or maybe you're having a tough day and you remember, I sat in that seminar and you want to know what the guy talked about this, and it works. So it's for everybody. It really, really is.
A little thing to put you over the top. We were talking the logo that you guys have this year. Redesigned the logo. It's really nice. It looks really nice.
Well, it does. And the organization that took over management of the facility is Destination Niagara, who I actually work in their office as the outdoor promotions guy. They do things top notch. No matter what it is, they're going to go over the top, and they're going to make sure customer service is part of it. And they want to make sure that people know that you're part of the show, that if people have questions, they can come up to you. So, kudos to that organization. They really do things top shelf, no matter what it is.
Yeah, the new website, the website got a facelift too, and it looks really nice. Really well done.
We have some great people that are very knowledgeable working there, and they know their stuff. And that's a testament to, the testament is how many people come here, not only visiting Niagara Falls during the summer, but also fishing. I mean, they give me a lot of leeway in what I do, and it shows. We just did an economic impact study here in Niagara County, and it produced, I think fishing was worth about $58.55 million last year to the county. It's significant. So, they're like, okay, we know it's big. The show's an opportunity for people to come and learn. And that's exactly what we want. We want people coming here, learning, and, going out there catching fish and coming back. If people have a good time, a positive experience, they're going to tell all these people they're going to come back. If they have a negative experience, they're going to tell those same people, and they're not going to come back. So,
you've got a reputation, as a captain, as a very accomplished multi-species angler. How would you sell the area? Somebody that wants to come here and take a trip, or what would, what's your pitch? How do you get somebody here?
What I basically say is 100% the truth. I don't think you can find anywhere in freshwater that has the size, the diversity, and the numbers of fish that we have. From the Niagara River up to Lake Erie. within a 30-mile radius of Niagara Falls, you have probably the best freshwater fishing in the world, I would say. For the diversity of species, you can go up to Lake Erie, do bass fishing, do walleye. If the winds aren't right, and you don't want to be down there, you're down on the lower river doing the same thing, catching fish. I mean, there's always something. So you go a lot of places and the wind's blowing, you got to sit in the hotel. Kind of stinks, right? Here, the wind's blowing, you're up on Lake Erie, you go to Lake Ontario. That's a good wind. Or you go to the Niagara River if the wind's too strong. I mean, there's always opportunities, and we do have a 12-month-a-year fishery here. So you have, all the salmonoids available, warm water, cold water, everything in the mix. I mean, being an accomplished angler here, quite honestly, the area makes it easier. It really does. I mean, Niagara is a lot of the other captains have told me, and Vince Paraleone said it a bunch of times. The Niagara River makes a lot of anglers look good. And it really does. I mean,
Hey, I need all the help I can get. So we ran into that on the airplane yesterday. So we were walking down the jet bridge and somebody said, well, you can't fish in Niagara Falls. And then Chris made the comment. He's like, you can fish a whole lot of things right around there. It's a pretty unique area.
Well, if you really think about it, I mean, that river is delivering nutrients out into the lake, and it just piles up the bait along the bar. I mean, the river's a great opportunity to, it's a food factory. It really is, from inside the river out on the bar. I mean, I've done it. You can make a living fishing just that area. Really, you can. And that's really unique. I mean, you can go other places and maybe they have good walleye fishing, or maybe they have good salmon fishing. It might even be slightly better than here. But when you put the whole package together, it's hard to say that there's a better fishery in the country. And it's bore out time and time again from the media people that we have here visit. They're like, man, I've never realized it was this good. Or you have people that have been coming here, that the study that I talked about, we've had 33% of the anglers that responded have been coming for 15 years or more. And 97% of the people that responded said they planned on fishing Niagara County again in the future. That's a testimony to not only the great fishing, but everything else that's entailed. So you can't just have great fishing and have that type of satisfaction. You have to have good restaurants, good attractions, good hotels, the availability to get gas. It's all here. It really is.
Yeah. And you said you could make a living fishing here. You've done that for a long time. Tell me a little bit about, if someone's interested in coming here, everybody wants to know, when should I book my trip? And the answer is anytime, but how do the seasonalities work as far as what you are typically targeting as the season kind of progresses?
So generally when people talk, or when people call and want information on fishing, first thing I ask them is, what are you looking to catch? What are you looking to target? And then we narrow things down. So we have a 12-month-a-year fishery here. We are looking from, now, which is a February timeframe. The river is shining. We have great steelhead fishing, brown trout fishing, lake trout fishing, and walleye. And that'll continue on until April. Usually around sometime in mid-April, the Lake Ontario will turn 40 degrees in more places and stabilize, and we'll start seeing kings. So we transition from that to the kings, the cohos, more trolling. In the river, it's all drift fishing, jigging, things of that nature, rod and hand fishing. As we get into that April timeframe, we're starting to target kings. As it starts heating up and it gets towards 50 degrees, you're talking about probably some of the best king fishing in the country. Numbers are off the chart, size. We get 20-pound kings in the spring. It's hard to get 20-pound kings in the fall in some places. So we have that great spring fishery, and a lot of other things overlap during that time frame. You're talking about May, when the water hits 50. The smallmouth fishery's on fire around here. The walleye season opens. You have great perch fishing. A lot of times it's pick your poison. What do you want to fish for? And if that's not going, there's something else. And as we get into June, then we start heading up into Lake Erie for some phenomenal walleye fishing. That migration starts hitting down here at the east end of the lake. And the walleye fishing gets good in addition to the smallmouth fishing. Come back in July and August, it's some of the best salmon fishing again. Offshore steelhead, inshore browns. And then we go back into the rivers. The fish start returning to the rivers or staging. And we get some good action with bigger kings, browns. steelhead, cohos. The river's still good for walleye. After that, we go into the salmon fishery in the rivers, in the tributaries. We have 18 Mile Creek, we have 12 Mile Creek, we have a bunch of other smaller creeks up on Erie that the steelhead come back in. I mean, it's really truly the whole package. It really isn't, and there's a lot of places that people guide full time, but they don't really guide full time. They have off seasons.
Mhm.
Here, if you want to guide full time, you can do it, and you can make a living at it. Or if you want to come fish, there's not a bad time. One thing that I would say is check the fishing report, which we update weekly at the Niagara Falls website. It's NiagaraFallsUSA.com. It is a fishing report every week, but we try to make sure that we say, hey, the wind looks like it's going to be big out of the west. The water's probably going to get dirty. I don't want people coming here having a bad experience. So you try to be
Some
truthful.
good fishing. You tell it like it is, not how what people want to hear necessarily.
I would much rather tell somebody, listen, hold off on your trip than come here and have a bad time.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things, you talked about these captains. Maybe it's not so good to be a charter captain here. I know a lot of these guys like taking a couple months off. You come here, you got to work all year round.
You want to know what? Yes. And I got to the point, towards the last, the end of that 33 years, and I'm still doing it, but not as often as I was. I got picky. I was like, I don't want to be out there when it's 10 degrees,
Yeah.
Let the younger guys, I'm going to call Matt.
Yeah.
Right.
I talked about my next question I was going to ask you is, you've had this career of fishing here, and you've got 12 months and you've got all these species, but if there was one fishing trip that you could take in your area right here, and you're like, well, this is the one thing I want to do, what would it be?
Boy,
I think I know what you're gonna say, but I want to see if I'm right.
All right.
well, I'm going to tell you that my favorite fishing is always whatever's coming next.
Mhm.
So I'm in steelhead mode. I'm in trout mode.
Okay.
I'm ready for the bass. I'm ready for the salmon. That being said, if I had to choose one fish, it would probably be bass.
Okay. That was like,
I
I thought you were gonna throw me a curveball. I'm like, I know you as a pretty accomplished bass hand.
I like the bass fish. I mean, it's great here. It's really an undervalued part of the fishery, just because we have the big brother Lake Erie right there. We catch a lot of 5
So
pound
you're
smallmouth.
talking Lake Ontario bass.
Oh yeah, I like.
Oh
I like
really?
the
See, I thought you were talking like Erie bass.
I do love Lake Erie bass, but I like bass fish in certain ways.
Okay.
I like throwing my
Interesting.
spinner baits. I like throwing stick baits.
Okay.
And the rivers, both upper and lower, are a little bit more conducive.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
So rather than the finesse fishing on Erie, you like a little more power fishing and.
I mean, I do it. I
Yeah.
like to do it. There's certain times when it pays off better to
Yeah.
do it. But that being said, I mean, I enjoy bass.
The DEC booth is kind of over this way from us, and there's that. It must be I'm guessing it's the New York State record.
The old New York State record.
8.4 or something. I mean, that fish is just
Oh yeah.
ridiculous.
It's crazy because as you think things are slowing down a little bit, like, maybe we're not seeing the top end that we used to. And then a year will produce several 7-pounders. I know of fish that are actually been caught that have been bigger than that have been weighed in tournaments. They caught one during one of the Lake Erie tournaments here in the fall on the Canadian side, but the guy didn't want to come back and make it a New York State record. He caught it in New York. He was fishing a tournament out of Ontario, went back to Ontario, it weighed like 897 or something like that. So basically 9 pounds,
Mhm.
but he didn't want to certify it as a state record. So he actually just said, I'm going to let it go. Which isn't
So it's
bad.
still out there, maybe.
Yeah, it is. I've seen some big bass over the years, and a lot of them we didn't weigh. That, if these fish get a couple more years, they're going to be, not that they weren't impressive,
Yeah,
they're going to be
they're-
crazy impressive.
Let's we got a couple questions coming in. One here from Jim Lemon, and thanks to Jim. Jim's always been, I think he's been watching since we first started doing this.
He's spent a lot of hours watching. So
Yeah, he's been around for a while. He says, any tips for fishing the upper Niagara? I'm looking to learn it.
Yeah, it depends on what species you're looking for. I mean, the upper Niagara River is noted for its warm water species. So smallmouth bass probably take center stage, but it also has a great musky fishery. What I would say is it's a certain time of the year fishery, and what I mean by that, it's the shoulder seasons. It's the early spring, early summer, good bass fishing. I catch a lot of fish on jerk baits. As a matter of fact, you're looking for areas that anything that breaks the current up there is a good thing, no matter what time of the year is, but especially in the spring.
This might be a silly question, just because I'm not from here, but when you reference the upper Niagara, that means above the falls.
Above the falls,
Is that
yep.
what that means?
Yep.
Okay.
Above the falls, from
Makes
Lake
sense.
Erie to the falls itself. And you're not going to go over Niagara Falls. They won't let you.
Okay.
You can only get about
Good. I mean,
2 miles above the falls. It's a cutoff zone, and they will stop you. There's boats that have been, going, because there's a series of reefs up there,
Yeah.
which back in the day, I don't consider myself an old guy, but I'm really an old guy if you think about, they used to let us fish a lot closer.
oh, really?
And there's a couple of reefs up there that are dynamite fishing. And then you got some knuckleheads that are, hey, let's take a ride down to the rapids. And, they cut that off. But yeah, the upper river is great fishing. Smallmouth, I like throwing jerk baits up there early in the year, late in the year are good. I like to throw the spinner baits during the summer. And then the musky fishing second to none. I mean, it really is.
That's
took a
kind of
big
been
leap
like a secret
Yeah.
for a while, hasn't it? Where it used to be like accidental, and now it seems like it's
Yeah,
guys are really
there's a lot of guys that target them up there. There's a big musky club here, and I would say a legitimate shot at a 50-incher in the fall. If you spend
Is that
time out
trolling
there,
or casting more?
that's both.
both.
That's
Okay.
both. Yeah, you get. They run a lot of monster tubes. They run a lot of bigger, anything bigger, and there's some local
Rubber bait.
guides that'll run some live bait up there. That quick
Same.
strike rig. They do quite well. I saw a bunch of big fish come out of the Upper River Harbor area last year to the tune of, wow, those are big fish.
Wow.
If you go in a barrel, they'll let you get closer to the fall.
Yeah.
Just try that.
Believe it or not, it's actually fairly shallow up there.
Yeah.
And there's been people that have done some dumb stuff with boats, with kayaks, and have gotten stuck. It's probably only 6, 8, 10 inches of water in some of the areas up there. So yeah, I don't think the barrels are
not gonna get down that one.
Here's another question here. This one's on the show. Brian just wants to know approximately how many vendors are here at the show this year.
There are 182 booths that are filled, roughly about 110, 120 vendors.
Yeah.
It's a pure fishing show.
Yep.
So, there's not, you go to some shows and there's a lot of fill-ins, there's very,
a lot
very,
of beef jerky, a lot of beef jerky stands.
very, very little. I mean, you're
Yeah,
talking
That's true.
maybe 2 or 3 booths that aren't 100% fishing related.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
And
looking
that's one
around
thing
here.
that we pride ourselves in, the fact that we've made this a fishing show. It used to be known as the Greater Niagara Outdoor and Fishing Expo. We took off the outdoors because we didn't feel like we were doing it justice, and just made it strictly fishing.
Yeah.
You're not gonna find a beef jerky guy or the guy selling a crossbow. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to touch on before we let you go?
No, I mean, if you want to become an educated angler, this is the opportunity, and I'm talking all different spectrums of the fishery, from trout and salmon to bass to walleye to kayak fishing. It has it all, and it's all included in that little $10 admission, or 4 days for $25. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
really can't.
there's a reason that this is the only show that we do anymore, and that's because it's really stayed true to people that want to come here and learn. So
Yeah, well, I agree.
This is our people right here.
That's what I always say.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody, but it's for the right people that
Yeah.
want to be here. So
Yeah. Very good.
appreciate it, guys.
Yeah. Thanks so much for
Thank
coming
you for
out
your
with us.
time.
Really appreciate it.